everybody. Welcome to the Groesville Township Community Recreation Commission meeting, April 28, 2011. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, the approval of the agenda. Any additions, deletions, or changes?
We have a deletion. Asking for a deletion of the approval of the minutes from the public hearing since they're not ready yet.
Okay. Second on that one, please.
I'll second.
Ethel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved. All right, any other additions, deletions, or changes? If not, I need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
So moved. I got Leah. Second.
Second.
Helena. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, motion passes. Public comment. 3-minute limit on non-agenda items. Anybody from the public want to come to the commission? If not, we will move on. Chairperson's report. Okay, this is going to be about discussing the schedule a date for interviews for commission candidates. This has been put on hold for months as we go through, we went through our recreation 5-year master plan. I wanted to get it done this month, but we had a lot on our stuff that we've had with the spring and stuff. But anyway, what I'd like the commission to do, I'd like to get some ideas so that next month I actually want to have the interviews at our regular scheduled meeting. You know, not saying it's going to be on TV or not like this, because it is interviews and stuff like this, then we can start afterwards. But this is, I think, would be a good time for all of us to be involved with this. Invite all the potential candidates come in. 10, what do we usually do, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, 10 minutes each?
I think around 15.
10, 15 minutes each. Go right there. We can go into the meeting room right there, make our vote there in private and everything like this. Come out here, start a meeting, and have new candidates. You guys sound like a good idea to you guys?
Yeah.
Question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mike.
Is there any area of expertise that we're looking for?
Not really. I mean, with our subcommittees, we really just want a well-run individual. I mean, I think the biggest one that we're lacking, I think, is anybody with small children. That would probably be the one area of lacking. Unless you and your wife not expecting anything, no. But I think pretty much everybody else, I think we're pretty much represented pretty good by our subcommittees, and stuff like that. But anybody that wants to volunteer, it's not like, it's a special need or case. We want anybody who wants to have the interest.
How many are you looking for?
Tim, we got how many open?
We have one opening.
One
and I
opening?
think there's 5 to 6 candidates.
Okay. So one opening. So the final one is we'll be contacting the candidates probably within the next 3 weeks, because it'll give them a week or so notice.
We can do it right away if you guys decided
Okay.
date and
Well, I
time.
think that's what we should do.
Another thing, the Recreation Commission is the largest. Most of them are 7 or less. When they merged the two departments, we were 11, then we went to 9 or 10, and that's where we're at now.
Okay.
So, but we are a large commission.
All right. So with that being said, let's go to the Recreation Director's report, who's got a full agenda here, Tim.
Yeah, I did go for a little extra detail this month. It's been a couple months since we met, and there's been so many people waiting for answers on so many items, and from a staff point of view, you have to go through the process, and sometimes it irritates people, sometimes it pleases people. Number one, the one big thing that's been on our plate for quite a while, in October, West Shore River Yacht and Cruising Club had made a proposal, and we know the proposal changed a little bit based on discussions.
Let's just remind everybody, okay, we did vote on this. We took it up to the board
Yes.
level for a decision.
Yes.
Basically, what you're doing is follow for the township boards on an insurance level and stuff like that,
Right, working with Dale Ream, the township manager.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Well, after that process, the club made a presentation at the last meeting we held, and what I was supposed to do was get together with Dale and go through the procedural items like permitting, insurance, because I had some concerns at that meeting. And following that meeting, as I noted in our information, I made contact. The MDEQ got back to me right away, and I really feel there is some permit issues because of where the latest proposal is on the dock, where the boat would be. That would take some time to go through the state, and that would, it's a lengthy process. Tried to did stay in contact with the insurance company, if you saw the paper trail, trying to get some kind of comment back on their latest proposal. And finally, about a week ago, the proposal was sent weeks ago from our department. We got some response back, and it's not enough as far as insurance-related items. And they have other concerns.
To make a determination, you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
And I think we knew that going along, and I know Dale's been trying to update the board in an informal manner, because we don't have all the detail, and they may ask him here and there, how is that, where's that at? So, and then finally, about a few weeks ago, to be perfectly honest at this point, like I always am, the restaurant, we began lease negotiations with the restaurant, and they do have a concern with another party having a liquor license on the site. I think they feel that would be some competition, and that may cause them to think in a different direction. So we do have that answer.
All right, and one side note, I did get an email forwarded to me from a resident. His concern was about parking on the facility site, that if enough for the proposal that the yacht club was talking about with Mike was like 75 current members. Is that what it is right now? Do you know?
That's about
75. The parking, where are they going to park at? Are they going to be using Sharky's parking lot? Blah, blah, blah. Would that be enough? So, I don't know if that's an issue or not, but I was basically asked my resident to make this known. All right. So we all set with the West River Yacht Club. Any questions about that or comments?
Dale was out the last week. Sorry, Leah, to cut you off. We're going to be meeting to try to further that towards the board.
Yeah, I would just like a quick review about where that is in relationship to us and the township board. I'm totally confused about that. About the whole yacht cruising club situation. It just needs to be clarified for me, because I'm still confused at what happened when I was absent, because I was in Italy for that meeting, and something happened then that I still haven't straightened out.
All right, I guess a quick crib note thing would be when you were absent and Bob Lang presented his proposal to the commission, this commission decided, I think was a vote, was 4-3 or 5-4? 4-3? Okay.
Fairly certain.
It was to knock it up to the board, let them decide, because they're going to have the final say as it is. And what Tim is doing right now is basically dotting the I's and crossing the T's to see if it's even a valid point as far as an insurance standpoint. Because right now, with the proposal that was given to us, the township insurer is saying that there's too many questions and not enough answers for them to say that it can or cannot be done. So that's where we stand right now.
Yeah. During that meeting, I had some concerns towards the end of the presentation that I didn't think it was ready to be brought to the board because of, permits, insurance, the restaurant, those type of things. And my task was to get a hold of Dale as the lead official that I report to and try to get that information before it goes to the board, the 4-3 vote that the commission had put forth. And I haven't gotten all the answers yet. We had met with, Bob had went to Florida, and I met with a couple of representatives from the club, and we told them there might be problems with the insurance and the permits. As soon as I got the permit, I forwarded that to them probably within a week's time on the permit issue about, the response from DEQ, and the insurance came slow.
Okay, so
I don't think it's ready for the board. And
so it's still on our desk, waiting for our recommendation
It's on my
to the
desk
board.
and Dale's desk to take forward to the board if there are any concerns for them to make a decision based on the 4-3 recreation approval of the boat being
Okay.
at Water's Edge.
Okay, so it's at the staff level to take it to the board, and they may refer it back here for further recommendation or whatever they decide to do, right?
Right, they
Basically, yeah.
could kick it back, yeah.
Okay, thanks, appreciate that.
Yes.
All right, moving on, the equestrian trail ride proposal, Tim?
Yeah, not similar, but there are some issues that are kind of close. I've been involved with 4 equestrian operations at the farm, and the biggest, one of the biggest concerns with the equestrian operators is people bringing horses onto the facility that aren't part of the operation, the lease, the insurance. I had a proposal from an individual, our high school coach, and also part of a Downrivers group, which has quite a few Groseville residents. And they wanted to base a riding event, a trail riding event throughout Groseville at the farm. And recalling that over the 4 different operations that we've had, I had encouraged her to maybe get together with the equestrian group, the equestrian club, because they've had some good experiences falling under Luton's umbrella as far as insurance and running events or cleanups, things like that. And I had provided the insurance and the legal requirements and that, just because I was concerned about liability. Like every time you turn around within the rec department, there's something. And then I also made sure that they knew they could have a social function there, or a meeting, or use the building. And once again, it took a while to get the insurance information back from Daily Merit. I think some of the people within the group got a little tired of waiting on me and contacted Dale directly, and he updated me, and he knew I was waiting for the insurance. And once I forwarded his email, I got a quicker response on the separate request of the
From
same.
Daily Merit, you're talking about?
Yes, for the
response?
same
Okay.
event. Yeah, for the same event. And they had concerns also that, I mean, I could go over all the insurance requirements, but it has to be well organized as far as liability issues, coverage, insurance, hold harmless. And it's very possible, it's just it's got to be coordinated. And
Okay, so where we stand right now, is this event with this riding club and Luton's, is it a joint thing, or is it going to be a separate thing? First question.
it's separate.
So Luton's are not going to be involved with this?
Currently, from what I know, they're not involved.
Okay.
It's a separate ride, and many of our
But
residents
the
are involved.
hopes is to start at the farm, ride around the island, come back?
No, that's changed.
It's changed.
It's changed.
What's the hopes?
Now they'd like to base it somewhere within the airport, and they
Okay.
provided a trail, which I gave you the map that
Okay.
was forwarded to me by Dale. And that was sent to the insurance company on top of what I had talked about basing it out of the farm and then going from that point. My main focus was insurance on basing it out of the farm.
All right, so right
Based
now,
on all the things we've been through and the passion of people who operate the farm, operate the horses, and what they have to go through to get their insurance, what they have to pay, I haven't gotten any complaints from anybody. It's just going through the process, and I want to make sure the township was covered to the best of my ability, and you never know. You try to follow everything properly.
so you're coordinating with Dale, the high school equestrian coach, and the insurance company currently right now?
I will meet back up with Dale on that. He's been gone for the last
Okay.
week, but he knew where I was taking it, and I think he mentioned to the individuals that he was dealing with that I would do anything I could to make this trail ride happen. It's just the coordination, and that takes time.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission to Tim about this?
I just wondered, Walter, is this a one-time only? Because when you read through it and some of the comments, it sounds like it's one time, and then in other places it sounds more like it's going to be more involved than just the one-time event.
I mean, like an annual event? I mean, I would imagine that. they do
Is that the way
this.
I made it? That might be my wording, and that might be...
I would actually, if it does come to pass, I would like to see an annual event like this, but yeah, no, absolutely.
I know a little bit about it. I think it's a group of downriver people that love horses. There's no membership, it's just a group of people that want to ride. There is I think that it would be nice if we could open our arms and have them base it. I encourage them to base it at the Centennial Farm, because that's where the horses are, to move in there. And then I knew that they were going to do a trail ride. We had done one once a long time ago, where they would do a trail ride and then, park the trailers there. So I had kind of encouraged, let's see if we can do it at the
Seems
farm.
logical.
Yeah. And I don't know, but I think it's gonna, hopefully, I would like to see it nurtured where it's an annual trail ride. I would really like to see it where it be a fundraiser, but that's up to them. It's just a bunch of people that trail ride. Most of them are not people that keep their horses on the island. I counted today, I got a list of the members. There's roughly 65 members, and the majority of them are residents on the island that have horses, that are members of this group. They just want to have a trail. They would like to showcase our island. I don't know. I think that it's kind of with Mr. Brannick. They've kind of found another place to stage it. It's going to be kind of a, if you think of, I don't know if you guys know about the trail ride that Belle Isle has. There's an annual trail ride that Belle Isle has with horses, so they're kind of going to use the ideas that they have, the hold harmless and some of those things. That's an annual trail ride, and that is a fundraiser for them. So kind of using their hold harmless, you got to have helmets, you have to have certain laws that the state of Michigan has as far as having horses moving around the state of Michigan. So the way I understand it right now, Mr. Brannick and his wife have, because they have horses on lake, they know where the trails are. They've contacted the police department. They got Porcerelli. They've got our animal control officer. They have people that are going to, Porcerelli, they've talked to the insurance. I don't know who does what, Dale Ream? Says the township manager and all that they've gotten the approvals that this is okay where you're going as far as, I'm sure that there are certain properties that they might have to ask people permission to go through.
Yeah, it's the coordination of it, that's...
Right, and they're going to do about not more than 20 riders. Hopefully it will be bigger. It's basically a presence of horses on the island.
Okay.
So they're going ahead, they have approvals okay. I don't know whether we're going to be lucky enough to have them stage it at the farm. They're going to have a ride. Do you know what I
We
mean?
got to ask Rob if he wants to do that, too.
He's been invited, and Sandra Bondar knows about it, and her equestrian teams. A lot of his horses are show horses, and you really don't want to have them on the side of a road.
Okay.
So a lot of it, these are trail, there's a big difference between a show horse and the equipment they wear and how they are as opposed to trail horses. And, yes. So
Makes sense, right?
he's a trail rider, yeah. So they're all invited for sure, all those people, but if he doesn't do it, I believe, it would not be necessarily because there's a difficulty other than his horses would not be the type that would tolerate cars going by them, and his riders are relatively amateurs, you know what I mean, beginners,
Okay.
so he wouldn't, I'm sure he would feel a safety issue.
All right. Leah, you want to say something? You're muted.
Yeah, Helena, I've marched in enough parades behind horses to know what you get to step in.
Right.
Is that all being coordinated?
Yes, they've got that. They've got a cleanup crew following. I think it's either a golf cart or a four-wheeler. He's our cleanup crew, is that? I thought you were riding.
He is riding his
Julie
quad.
Cordes is doing it. There's a bunch of people that are more than willing to be the cleanup crew because they don't want to ride, but they want to be with the people.
So is there a proposal date then, whatever, then, stuff like this at all? Or is it just too early to pick a date yet?
He's in charge of it.
Oh, he's in charge of it? I thought it was the Girls Hill High School coach.
No, she's actually the IT person. Does that make sense? She's like, she's kind of backing off.
Okay. Well, any more questions on the commission at all? Well, then step up, please, and state your name, please.
Hi, good evening. I'm Dave Brannick. I'm a resident over on East River, as Doc mentioned. Commissioners and representatives, good evening. I think it's been previously stated, we have a tentative plan to basically bring over both residents, non-residents, primarily residents, that primarily do own horses, and we'd like to bring the horses out. We'd like to either work with the riding club here, or actually stage our own. We'd be glad to do that. We can certainly bring trailers over. We can set up for a day, and it'd be fine. We did speak with I did speak with Chief Porcerelli to make sure we have clearance there. We'd be glad to work on a hold harmless basis because we know riding is a fairly dangerous sport. In most people's eyes, we certainly understand that just like dogs, horses need to be cleaned up after. We certainly understand, too, that from a traffic standpoint, that the horses need to ride with traffic. These horses, aren't the show-type horses where they're very flighty. These horses are trail-ridden horses. These horses need to be basically safe on public roads. Certainly the people that are going to participate are aware of that. We're asking the folks to sign a hold harmless, ride appropriately, ride in traffic. These people generally tend to know how to do that. In coordination with Chief Porcerelli, we would have cell phones with us for safety, et cetera. Chief Porcerelli was very willing to work with us on, traffic control, et cetera. I don't think that's an issue at all. We'd be riding on public roads, private individuals by permission only, and conduct a nice, safe ride. We're basically starting off from the southwest end here and hope to promote the island, basically. Ride north about 5 miles, ride south on public roads, returning back here. So the event's basically a pretty well-controlled event, and we'll hope we support it.
Well, thank you, Dave.
Other questions? Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Dave? No, I think you explained it pretty well.
Good. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Tim, so when it comes to this, we're still looking at coordinating with Dale with this, right? Is that
Right, my original concern was the requirements at Centennial Farm. And I found several copies of waivers like they have at the Metro Park. I also forwarded those on to the insurance company when I started doing the original work on it. I think that we could send that, get the copies approved, and it could be coordinated. It's just, my main concern was the legal responsibility we have at Centennial Farm with the lease and the operation and their insurance, and
makes sense to me?
that's the only thing. But I would be glad to help you with your event. I'd work it.
Yeah, Dave, if you can even coordinate with Tim, that'd be very helpful.
Just a question. I mean, we're going to ride past Centennial. If you would like to coordinate with Centennial, we can do that. If you'd like us to be independent of Centennial, we can do that too. Because with the Hold Harmless, basically, we can ride our horses on the public grounds. If you would like us to coordinate with the Centennial, that's fine too. If you would like us to be totally independent and have the Hold Harmless, then that alleviates the township from any liability. So we'd be willing to work with the township anyway.
That would be great. You know, like I know you coordinate with a lot of different people,
Yeah.
but including Tim would be very, very much appreciated and stuff like that.
Sure.
And to keep him in the loop and stuff. He gets his feelings hurt, you know. So.
Oh, we definitely don't want to do that. He's a great guy. So any way you want to work with it, we certainly want to work with Centennial. If you would like us to work independently of Centennial for liability purposes, we could do that too, because with the Hold Harmless, frankly, and working with PD, it'd be nothing like more than, several of us going out on the trail independently, which we currently do today. We're simply saying, hey, we'd like to get a small group initially, 12 for the first year, and what we're trying to do is draw people to the island. It'll bring their kids to the island, to the Centennial Farm, for their kids to, raise and ride on horses. And independently, we ride there already. And so we would like to work with the township any way necessary, either independently or coordinated with. We can work any way.
Well, being a forever optimist, I mean, knowing the difference between two horses, I mean, even a hit and run or something like this, even to promote Rob's Riding Academy.
Exactly.
I mean, just for people to see both kinds of horses in one spot would be kind of neat instead of on a road or something like that. But I mean, it would be all entitled to Rob.
It's a win-win, but as Doc Woodward pointed out, I mean, fundamentally, these are trail-ridden horses, and generally his horses are more for either kids learning to ride, they're show ring specific. The horses that are going to come out here, they're very versatile horses. I could compare to dogs. I run dogs a lot too. These aren't show dogs. These aren't, show horses. These are horses that are very mild and temperamented that way. The folks that are come out here, they're not going to look for trouble. They want a nice, safe ride. There are a number of clubs around here. Rockwood rides one, Milan rides one, Monroe rides one, and we're simply saying that, hey, Grossville should be in that too. We've got a wonderful spot. We'd like to promote the island, and I think it's a great way to do that.
Outstanding. Thank you. All right.
Well,
Yes. All right, let's go, John.
I want to know if the equestrian group's going to march in the parade, Island Fest parade.
I think when we've asked in the past about that, John, it's the shoes. I think the horses on concrete.
Can't do that?
That's the
Can I say something? Some of them, I don't know about Rob's show horses, because, you have to be really careful with the show horses, because
And I think
You know, these
Rob
people-
was before he came, and he doesn't like to do that.
No.
but I don't know if the equestrian team was going to ride in the parade. They have done that before. And sometimes they will only take one horse because they don't want any horses that spook it. You'd be surprised, like fire trucks shooting water and
Right.
making the siren scares
Yeah.
them. So sometimes, like last year, I think they walked and held the banner.
Right, I was just thinking
Yeah.
it would be another good way to promote the
Right.
group with even one or two horses.
The thing is whether you got a real parade-safe horse or not.
Okay.
So that's what the issue is. First off, when Rob's getting his horses ready, the last thing you want to do is spend all winter getting ready to go to a show and then have a horse slip and hurt itself,
Yeah.
and then your whole summer's out.
That'd be bad, yeah.
Yeah, that's not-
It's like a kid with ACL or something like that.
okay.
Mr.
All right.
Chair,
Oh,
I just, yeah, we ran out of seats. No, but I do want to add, I think, John, were you also wondering if Sandy Bondar and the Grosse Ile Equestrian Support Club wanted to do something in the parade?
Whatever we can do to get horses somehow promoted would be good.
I don't know, Tim, have they been approached or responded
I
to the
did not
parade?
send them parade mailing, that would be a good thing to do. Yep.
Yeah, they might even just want to have a car or a truck with the kids. Can you, I'm sorry, Paige, you have to.
I can reply to that a little bit. I would say there's been...
State your name, please.
Paige Miller, Bayview Dev. There have been two reasons why we haven't participated much in that particular parade. Number one is that weekend is always a weekend that there's a big horse show up at MSU, and Rob is gone that weekend, and the kids always have to decide, okay, I'm not going to Island Fest because I'm going to the horse show, because they all go to MSU. The other reason is that at least the horses that Rob has, he doesn't have horses that he's comfortable putting in a parade with fire trucks, and I think he's got maybe 3 horses in the whole barn that I would say could do a trail ride out of those 28 horses. The rest of them are show horses they're not used to. I mean, I think this idea is great, and it would be really fun, and I'd love to do it myself, but our horse could never, ever.
Paige, I got a question
deal
for
with
you.
that.
They got that little baby pony. What about a little baby pony doing it?
Baby pony, that's possible. If we, in fact, I just nailed in our Island Fest thing to do a little table that weekend, and we had to keep it real, the whole scope of what we were going to do very small, because not very many people are going to be in town even that weekend. That's possible, it's just more coordination on a difficult weekend.
Tim, maybe a little pony or something. We talk about a horse or something, John, or something. That little baby pony, something smaller.
I can find out, I can ask about it. I think I would love to do it, and I would love to, have our club banner and have a horse and have some kids.
We have some little trailer, put the little baby in the little trailer. I don't know if you can do the horse.
We can have that baby pony hand out stuff at the information booth. I mean,
Yeah, promotion is what John's like.
Right.
He's
In fact, I think
thinking.
Bob even volunteered at one point, because we had a lot of discussion about this, that maybe he could take his horse trailer and have a horse looking out the back. We talked about a lot of ideas, but, we have difficulty with the coordination.
Okay. And like I said, I just wanted to make sure you knew, to be welcome, and that it would be a really great part of the parade. But I know there are other things going on besides Island Fest that families want to go to, so.
If I had a few more people, I sent out a big email, who else is not going to the show that can help? And I had 3 people get back to me, and so that's a little tricky. So.
All right, cool.
That's it.
All right, thanks, Paige. All right, so we good with that? Then you guys, any more questions on that? All right, Centennial Farm Spring Cleanup. Quite a bit with this, Tim.
Yeah, the first one having to do with the Centennial Farm, there's like a maintenance walkthrough and then the cleanup. The Grosse Ile Equestrian Club that we've visited with several times over the last few months as they begin to organize and offer programs at the farm, they got involved with maintenance and had an incredible day of lots of repairs, lots of cleanup.
They did that the week prior to the one that... Right, because that was Spring Island Cleanup Day, okay.
Right. And Paige is here if you wanted to talk on that. I mean, they've got the update, but if you wanted to speak on it, or... It's up, they have the packet. It was...
I can read off the list if you want.
over
What do you guys
30
do?
volunteers
You
throughout
want to do a couple highlights or something?
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but you were there.
Sure, Tim. You probably playing it.
Okay. I'll just try to reiterate very quickly that I know you already got the email that I sent to Tim, just kind of summarizing what we did on that cleanup day. It was very cold, and it did rain by the end of the day, and so we were a little bit limited with respect to the painting, because it was supposed to be 50 degrees if we painted, and it was not 50 that day. But on the second, we did... or during that week, they spread mulch in some of the low-lying areas. A lot of the manure was moved or delivered to local gardeners. They removed and replaced 10 of the 4x4 fence posts. They installed about 100 new fence boards to replace the old and damaged boards. The insides of both barns were power washed, including the arena and the stalls. The windows inside and out of both barns were washed. We washed the outsides of the wood stalls in both barns with Murphy's Oil Soap and followed up with polish. Painted some of the white fencing, wire brushed and rubbed a lot of the steel wool, a lot of the corral gates, and also a lot of the steel bars in the barns, and began painting some of the red gates and some of the silver bars in the red barn. That we're going to continue with some of the painting projects. I personally am working on the red gates. That's my pet project, and when I get a good day, I go out there and paint a gate. But we had a great turnout. We had about 30 people. I wanted to really recognize Chris Pesta of Classic Construction on Macomb Street, who was very important with respect to the fencing projects. He brought out all his equipment and helped with the labor on getting the posts in and the new boards installed, along with a couple other gentlemen that helped work with Rob and him on that. But no, it was a good day.
I want to thank you guys. I think you guys are doing a great job with this Equestrian Club. It really is, you guys are doing good. This is really exciting, actually.
We're very excited, and, you know, we got a real good group of people, and people are, you know,
This
we're
has been a
looking
long
forward to it.
time coming.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to do it some more.
All right, thanks. All right, the next is, what do we got next, Tim?
Airport recreation.
Oh, wait. We got to go with
I
Helena.
thought
Helena's.
that put them under each of their commissioner reports.
No, because they got announcements for that, because we're on the Equestrian Club. Let's stick with
Okay.
Helena's
That's the
notes.
way I'd set it up under the commissioner reports, but that's your call.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before. So, Helena, what did you guys come up with your walkthrough? Because you had a walkthrough the other week before.
And you have a list.
Right. Any want to do any? Yes, I was.
You want me
Anyone?
to talk about?
Well, yeah. Any big highlights for what you
I'm
guys?
sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's okay.
Big highlights. We had roughly 10 people there, if you count me, 9, that showed up. It represented a lot of people. I did not get a garden representative, but all we did was walk through looking at things that, since the winter, need cleaning up, things that need addressing. I was really pleased that the Equestrian Club went through and cleaned a lot before we got there, so it made very little for us to... I'm sure they cleaned up a lot of stuff we would have seen. I tried to group these lists as by areas. It was stuff that we all went through. I wrote down every comment that people said, whether it was good or bad. I wasn't always the best at remembering what the comments were, but I also took pictures. He's hogging them here, but there's a bunch of pictures that you can see, so that if you look at the comments, you'll understand what we were talking about. There were really only 3 really big areas that we talked about that we needed to... Oh, look at that.
They did it themselves. All right.
So,
Yeah, talk about like the key things about like what you want to do, right? This was one repair. What was another?
That was
repair?
one big repair. Tim's already fixed it. That's the rusting of, yeah.
It's already done?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. A lot of stuff you can't get to because of the ground's so wet. That was a comment. Sandra Bondar was saying that she can get, what do you call them, Girl Scouts and help repaint that. That piece of plastic, Laura Schaller's been trying to get removed. You can only get through to that piece of plastic when the ground's not wet, so we don't wreck it. That's already been fixed. That's where the snow plows pushed up all the stops for a car. Those are repaired. I don't even know why we took this picture.
Maybe it's what they did the week before.
It might be, yeah, the pictures of the fence repairs. No, this is all that day we were there. This is a picture of the red barn. That door needs to be repaired. I'm leaving that up to Tim, because I'm not climbing up there to fix that. This is actually where The animal shelter wants to make sure that this is a shared parking lot area with the hay loft, so the animal shelter is concerned that that always stays clean out there, looks as clean as you can get. I don't know why we have a picture of this, but that's a red barn. Yeah. There's, what do you got?
Tails?
This is kind of a picture of the dog shelter, what do you call it, the dog park. This is very well controlled. This is very well managed. They can't fix the fences like Paige was saying until the weather's better. They have a lot of, if you can see the gate to the right's all brand-new womanized wood. They can't paint it till the weather's better. The dog park and the animal shelter are extremely well contained. They're very well manicured. They have a big group of volunteers. You know, they've got it all under control. I don't care whether Laura Schaller's there or not, you know what I mean? Julie Cordes has it all under control. She's just got squeezing a full-time job into part-time hours.
And Julie Cordes, she's the new animal control
She's the new animal control officer, part-time. But Laura started a really good thing, and Julie's kind of developing it in her way, a little more detailed than that. But these people are well-run, these volunteers. This is the drainage by the dog parks to your left, and the parking lots to the right. So all it is probably a picture of where water's contained. This is some sort of prop for, it's actually a fire hydrant painted like a dog or something that fell over.
This is a little bit like sound bites.
I don't know where it goes. Laura said it goes in the center of the dog park. So they got, yeah. There is a picture you might want to put up of, I think you got it. This is, we're going to address through Tim and Walt and that.
Is this the apartment?
This is the apartment,
that's
and for them to get, for the Rob and his group to get water to that paddock, they have to deliver it with a truck. So we have to pull those posts out, which are still there, but we got to, when the ground is drier, we can get in there and pull those posts out, and we have to arrange a way that they can get water to those horses over there without driving it with a truck. See how it's wrecking the lawn there? This is all that. And like Tim said, we have to be good neighbors, and this is what the neighbors see from those back of those houses on East River Road. We don't see it when we arrive on the farm, but those neighbors see this.
They've
We
been
have to
mighty
address
patient.
this. Yeah. Yes, they have been. But as long, anybody that is on East River and that they look at that, that's going to get fixed. That's kind of I don't know if it's a big issue.
Whose dog?
That's actually a Tails dog that they're walking. No, one of the dogs on East
Is that
River.
Laura's?
Laura was walking it.
Yeah.
She's babysitting it. This actually is groundhog. What do you call it, groundhogs? No, what are those things that run in the water?
Muskrats?
Muskrat holes all around. If they put a live trap, I'll take them. So if you trap those muskrats, I'll take them and relocate them.
It's already over, you can't eat them.
I can eat them. I got ponds to put them in. I have homes for them. I need them. So this is just a tree. Yeah, there's the crock, that one hole that, I don't know how you're going to address that.
It's being done.
You probably don't have it.
Yeah, I've got it.
You know, we had things like there's a picture of Laura.
This is going to be the big money ticket here.
Yeah, this is by the pond. I'm sure Ute knows of this.
Tim,
If you-
explain what that crock is.
Yeah.
That's a drainage. That's for drainage.
So we need to cover it, right? That's
Yes,
Tim's
we
job. Yeah.
have one quote right now, and I've got 2 more coming.
Oh, great.
And where would
The big ticket item actually is going to be the drainage between the outdoor arena and the rec. If we want to tie into that beautiful system under the outdoor arena, we could have everything from the roof and everything go right in, but that's a little more costly. Or we have to go towards the gravel
That's a
parking
bigger
lot.
ticket than this?
I think if it's done right, it would be.
Where's
Okay.
the location of this again?
This is if you're going, and the Rob Luton Performance Horses is on the right, where the shed row is. The
2 tracks
pond
to the
is here.
pond to the right.
And you go to the left of the pond, there's a trail there, that's right next to the trail. That's about, we went through and identified stuff. Tim's already got a lot of it all handled.
Yes, I was talking earlier, liability.
Yes.
All right. So basically, for your group, the subcommittee, that was an inspection as opposed to the question club was basically a cleanup
Cleanup.
and maintenance.
Right.
All right. All right, Tim. Moving on to the next one. Airport recreation area, the pilot volunteer position.
Yeah, a little bit of maintenance is going on, getting the soccer goals anchored down, make sure they're fastened in the, year-round, but Brian went through and did all that. The vinyl fencing, the Roseville Soccer was thinking about taking down prior to the gyro lease that we, the lease we have with the Airport Commerce Park for that lease. And then we were talking, and we thought that might be better to keep that fence up there because it wasn't coming out where you could save the slats on the fence. So we put them back in the posts where the posts holding the slats were they're breaking. So that he was working on that. One thing that I've come to know on over 24 years is there's nobody better than our youth association on scheduling, programming their sports. And since those fields have airport fields have been becoming more used, more competitive for them, what I decided to do was put somebody in the know that has experience in that group, knows both organizations, our two key youth volunteer groups, JIRA and GISA, and have that person be a volunteer athletic field coordinator, not maintenance. They know the travel leagues, they know the house leagues, they know the football leagues, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult for them to have to go through us for an approval, but sometimes if they can schedule it and come to me, I look it over and it goes faster instead of going through all the red tape. And I broke the description down into basic functions, and what the main purpose was, Groseville Township will enhance field scheduling by appointing a volunteer field coordinator on an annual basis. But this is only a pilot. If you guys do not like it after this year, or you don't like it right now, we can do away with it. The volunteer athletic field coordinator is under the direct supervision of the recreation director. The primary purpose of this position is to provide support to the recreation director in achieving maximum community utilization of the athletic fields. The coordinator works with Groseville Soccer, Groseville Youth, Recreation Association to avoid field conflicts. Assign fields for practice and games as directed under the Groseville Recreation Department field use guidelines that were approved, a few years ago by the commission. And that goes on. And also will help with the leased fields when those become available.
Have you got any responses on that? Has it been published yet? Or
they really haven't got the main part of their season going. They're trying to get out onto the fields right now, and obviously, after looking at the farm pictures, that's pretty tough to do. Assign fields for practice, games as directed under us. The volunteer athletic field coordinator will assign field reservations order of established by the Groseville Community Recreation. First priority, GISA JIRA. Second priority, GISA JIRA. That's youth league game. Second priority, which they're not real big on, is at least GISA for practice, but their practice would be second priority, the two youth. Third priority is other groups, scheduled and permitted games. Fourth priority would be other groups. That'd be outside travel leagues and other groups that aren't part of those two youth associations. And in our guidelines and regulations, GISA and JIRA are mentioned regularly throughout that. And then fifth priority is others. Acts as a liaison with athletic organizations, clubs, and special interest groups. Coordinates school activities requiring field support at the airport. Sometimes we'll get requests from lacrosse or soccer teams if their fields are in disrepair or they can't get out on them. Provides recreation with updates on any problems or concerns with field conditions. Remind organization teams to clean up their debris.
we don't have to get into this minutia, do we? I mean,
Yes.
we do have to.
Yes.
Are you advertising right now? Is that what you're doing?
It's very important.
You have one application, though.
No, that person was assigned based on their experience.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Never mind if you don't want.
Did I take the wind out of your sails? But basically, you got a volunteer job description for this new position that you want to do a trial program for to see how it works.
Yeah, I just wanted to get to these minimum qualifications.
Okay.
Must have positive attitude and be dependable, good oral communication skills. Key, have a thorough knowledge of the township and school athletic fields. Key, have a thorough knowledge and experience working with Groseal Youth Sports Associations. Have thorough knowledge of Recreation Department athletic field guidelines, rules, and rates as approved by the Groseal Recreation Commission. Assist in promoting youth recreation sports in Groseal. Those are, the youth associations are so key, and those are the primary users, and they will work out, they'll work great with the travel organizations. It'll be more fluid. I'm not saying there won't be any conflicts. It'll come back to the
Because there always is.
There always is. But
So
we
what are
have-
you going to do? How are you going to publish this out? Are you going to put this in the camera, or is it going to be on GITV?
I already put it into place this year based on Tom's work down there. He's almost down there every single
so
day.
Tom's the man.
Yes.
That's this guy, right here. Is that this Tom Smith?
Wasn't he president? Isn't he? Or he's not the president anymore. Is he?
He's been with GIRA, or GISA 15-plus years. And he works very closely
Okay, I know
with representatives from
Okay,
GIRA.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going overload here, I guess. All right, so good luck to Tom on this, right?
I appreciate him taking it on.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, I really kind of messed that up, didn't I? Okay. Summer golf programs. You got some new and exciting things, Tim?
We're building on the ones we have, and we have the little chippers, the preschool, we have the junior golf program we've had in the past. The youth teen league has been fairly successful. We're building on that. We introduced 2 years ago Golf 101 for women, group golf lessons. That's 8 students per session, $80 per session. And then we have parent-child series.
All right, now the big thing is that we've been talking about for a while now. Any tournaments planned at all? Anything like that at all to...
We have a series of youth, and as I brought up at the Bill, I brought up the working with you guys on the adult tournaments. Brian is. I even forwarded an email to Bill a couple months ago where Brian's offered to work with them on some different ideas. Bill, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't care. Father's Day or something at least, the very minimum. Dads love to golf or something. Okay. Any questions about the summer golf programs, anybody? No?
I'd like to hear a little bit about the volunteer.
A little bit about the volunteer meeting.
That will come when I give my report.
Be patient.
All right. Maintenance update?
We've had a lot of maintenance already. In your report, you have the maintenance walkthrough for the marina, and that'll be covered by Michael. And Bill will talk a little bit about the maintenance at the golf course. The farm, the siding project, we used existing siding. It looks a little bit, it's been 2 months.
Did I say that out loud?
I don't mean any disrespect. The siding, we used existing siding. The door on the barn, you probably noticed, was repaired. The drainage along the building in the outdoor arena, that's going to have to be, it's really collecting water.
Is there any way we can get the corrugated thing to drain or something, to, even if we were to run 30 feet of
Right, that's
something's temporary?
what I would hope to do. I was hoping to get, I told a couple of the people I walked around with today, if I could get Barry down there, if he's not too busy tomorrow, and ask him, because one is somewhat expensive and the other one might work, but I don't want to do the cheap one if it's going to cause us problems in other areas. So, and Barry does that all the time, and if he has 5 minutes, he'd be able to come look right at it and
Okay.
tell me.
All right, so we got to get out the Barry on that.
And that's it for the maintenance, because under the report, you'll see there's quite a bit being done.
Well, very
Under the
good though
supplement.
with fixing that the indoor riding arena wall. Already.
Yeah, Brian Payette,
Brian did that?
Brian had a party that came in, did it for a very low fee, and they used the existing resources around the barn. He also fixed the door that was backed into the maintenance building, and if you go around to the other side by the stables,
Yeah.
that was fixed up too. Right now, they're a little discolored, but when they're power washed, it'll blend nicely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Brian's done a lot of work on that.
Okay, good.
All right. Any more questions about
I have
maintenance?
a question.
Yes.
Tim, did you have anybody look at that? Remember in the red barn, that thing that's holding water?
Yes.
The laundry tub?
Yep. I talked to Charlie Campo, and he's going to have a plumber
Something.
come look at
Okay.
that. I think we're going to replace the tub.
Okay,
It's
with
bad.
some sort of-
Yes,
okay.
we're on that.
All right. Next, then Island Fest update.
Just that was all. We updated enough, Uda and I. That was just to show you that Recreation Department, the staff is working on that area also.
Well, let's at least plug some big things. What do we got here for music? I see 50 amp fuse, love them.
There's a really hot new band coming on Friday night. They're called The Revoked, and they are a Gross Eel group. Max Robinson,
Oh, the high school.
Brandon Reeves, Tommy Whitaker, and Ryan Reeves. And I know I'm an old girl, but I'm saying they rock, and they rock big time. And they're working on a full set. They played at the Pig Roast last year. They have, they're going to prepare like a musical presentation to put on GITV, Tim. I've been trying to push them to do that. Brandon Reeves played Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof, very talented young man. Ryan Reeves graduated last year, very talented guitar player. Tommy Whitaker is a junior, a very talented bass player. And, of course, Max Robinson is a senior this year. He's my nephew, but also a very talented young man. He and 3 other young men that he knows from the school actually entered that Big D, April in the Big D contest, and they came in 3rd place. From 0 to 3rd place. I mean, it was really amazing. And every now and then I catch my son humming that tune. So, that's pretty incredible. So you're going to have some very talented kids playing on Friday night for the family, fireworks night. Come support them and, have some cocktails in the tent and sit out on the lawn with your family and enjoy that evening. So
And we need
that's
volunteers.
my plug for them.
And we
Yes,
need volunteers.
we need volunteers. There's a volunteer sign-up on the Island Fest website,
Yes.
part of the recreation web page, and Julie Cordes is organizing the volunteers. So if you don't sign up on the web page, just give Julie a call, stop by whenever you see her. We're offering a free T-shirt, awesome Island Fest collectibles, and of course, trying to get that group of people together is a big job, and I really appreciate that Julie's taking that on.
All right, thank you, Tim. All right. You all set, Tim? Anything else you want to add?
Good.
All right, old business. Anybody have any old business that you can recall that we haven't put to bed yet? Anybody? All right. New business. The Thoroughfare Canal Kayak / Canoe Non-Motorized Launch Site. All right, Tim, I know we talked about this briefly. I know that this is what, wasn't Leah involved looking around for the launch site, non-motorized site? This is all in conjunction with that, what we are charged to do by the township, right?
The Open Space
Right.
Greenways Committee with Leah being our liaison to that,
Right.
did a study on several sites, but there was no recommendation from them or us.
Correct.
But the Township Board, a couple of meetings ago, or a meeting ago, not proposed, but discussed a possible site, and I think they were heavily considering it. And then Monday night it was discussed again. Many residents were in the audience, and they, I think most of them were not too excited about it, to be honest.
Do you mind, Tim?
Yeah, please.
Well, essentially, at our last meeting, it was a discussion item added to the board agenda, and it was simply an outline of, well, it resulted from when the township board voted to use open space funds to buy township-owned land to revert that property specifically to open space. And that parcel along Thoroughfare Canal, abutting Meridian and the Hickory Circle subdivision, has been township-owned land for a very long time. Now, it's been bought by open space, except we specifically left 3, I think, Tim, 1 or 2 parcels of that along the water. We left those as township-owned because at some point, and I don't know the full details of this, it was discussed that that might be a site to put a floating dock or a parking lot and so forth, and you can't, I mean, the jury's still out, you can't really build anything on open space. I mean, you can grade it, you can, but it can't really be a permanent structure. So if you're, maybe I should go up there. So if you look here at the picture,
Is that Macomb I would see right there? What road is that on the opposite side? Yeah, no, not right there, the driveway or like thing. What is that?
this here,
No, right on the very top.
right here.
That's Meridian.
No, what is this?
That's West River
Oh,
Road.
this is Grays.
That's Grays?
Yes.
Okay, that's Grays.
So this is Grays, and this is Meridian, and here would be a parking lot right along here, and then a path that would lead, it was a wood chip, proposed a wood chip path that would lead down to here, and then these, I guess it's 4 lots,
Brief descriptions right there.
are still property. So what the draft was, this was on April 11th. The Township of Grosse Ile is proposing the installation of a seasonal floating dock along the thoroughfare canal on these lots in the Grosse Ile Manor subdivision. In addition to the installation of the waterfront structure, a parking area is proposed near Meridian Road and an access trail to connect. The improvement will allow water access to Thoroughfare Canal for passive recreation. The proposed gravel parking lot and trail will create a rustic type of park improvement. The parking area and trail will be separated by bollards, restricting water access only, allowing canoes and kayaks to be carried to the launch site from the parking area. Trash cans will be placed and maintained by township staff. And then it lists a loose description of some policies and regulations. Now, if you look at this document, I mean, it's got draft written all over it, and it was a discussion item in front of the township board. What's happened apparently in the intervening time is that, and again, forgive me for not being clear on it, but a permit was pulled to begin, and a public hearing was set with the Planning Commission. And so to do so, the Planning Commission sends out a letter notifying all the residents within, I believe, 300 feet of the proposed site. So the residents in the Hickory Circle area and on Waterway and some of the properties on both sides received these letters and were very concerned. This was essentially the first they'd heard of it. And also some of their neighbors are away in Florida for the season, and so quite a few people apparently aren't aware that all of this is happening. And so they came to our township board meeting on Monday night, the 26th, to let us know as a board in no uncertain terms that they were not thrilled with this idea and that they would oppose it at the Planning Commission. And I guess the other thing is that they believed that the Recreation Commission had made this proposal based on our Recreation Master Plan. And it's on that level, I think, that Tim and I got involved with one of the gentlemen after the meeting to describe to them how our master plan worked, how the process worked, and that we never represented it as a scientific or accurate poll, that we were simply saying we had a lot of public interest in creating public waterfront in the community. Now, this site...
Yeah, in our master plan, there's no location in our master plan.
No, and I guess that's why we want to bring it up now, is that the Recreation Commission never made any kind of a recommendation as to a site. Our recommendation was simply to the board that residents were interested in having this kind of access. The Open Space and Greenways Committee and Commission also never made a specific one-site recommendation. They looked at several sites as possibilities, but no one had ever made a recommendation. The first time that I became aware of this was at our April 11 meeting when it came up as a discussion item. So I think probably the next step is going to be to have a public airing of this. beyond what happened at our meeting, that the board will probably have to have a public meeting on this specific site, because, again, Mr. Budney came to our meeting, too, and said, don't let this turn into like a sidewalk where you have, a limited amount of public input and you move forward on a plan. So not to say yes or no to the plan, but I guess my purpose right now is just to describe to you why it's become the issue
I got a
it's
question.
become.
Okay. The red border line would basically be open space, right? That's all the open space property, right?
Yes.
Okay. The blue line, okay, you made it clear about the pathway, the parking, and then the 4 lots, whatever, stuff like that. This is the first time I've ever seen this, but how is this going to affect this commission, or more importantly, Tim, is this going to be a rec property to be in charge of? I mean, because we don't know nothing about this.
And honestly, none of this has been discussed or formulated. There are a lot of questions that are still to be answered. Security questions, access questions, things as simple as porta potties. When people have been in a canoe or a kayak for a few hours, they may be looking for a way or a place to relieve themselves, and we certainly don't want it to be in the canal near the properties. The homeowners are concerned about partying, people using the dock for motorized vessels as well. There are a lot of different issues that still have to be.
Okay, so this is strictly an FYI for this commission because we didn't.
I didn't put it on the agenda for today or anything. I think Tim wanted to make sure that the public knew. He was doing some CYA for the CRC, that we didn't bring this forward.
The day after the township board meeting, I had several calls, and somebody dropped the letter off detailing that information and wanted to make sure that the rec commission received the information. And being at the meeting, I know it was pretty intense at times.
Okay, but basically we don't have to do anything.
I was just informing you what was.
Yeah.
Are we doing anything?
Well, what I think we do, what I think we do need to reiterate is to the public again that our recreation master plan is a document of potentials, of proposals, but not a document that says something has to happen. Because again, people are getting the idea that because something was discussed or proposed to be included in the master plan, that we're the ones driving these decisions. And I think it's important we just keep hammering away and saying, no.
Which we've done from the beginning.
Yeah.
Everything that's in there does
It
not.
still doesn't,
can or cannot be done. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
ideas from the public.
Right. So we just have to constantly remember and remind, ourselves, remind our board that whatever is included in the master plan is included simply as potential and as something that somebody in the community was interested in. The email you received says they got the feeling we represented like it was a true representation of the community. And we never pretended that.
Having been through many recreation master plans, like the first 2 that I went through, there were surveys sent to the community, and many times you don't get the return on it. And even though there's numbers, you have the actual numbers in front of you, and they'll say based on an average survey, or that too is a little bit vague. But what the planners that I've experienced the last couple times around, they do the charrettes where you actually get in the room and look at the facility or the area. And then the last 2 master plans was the focus group sessions. And then if you remember, the reason it took us so long to do the master plan is people are a little leery of those focus group sessions. You have them real quick one night. Not everybody can make it from the garden club or the sports association or the high school. So we had several meetings over and over again, and I think it is a good solid, I know it's a good solid plan. And even when we did surveys, the water access was way on the top. So I don't know how but his point was, can you measure it that way? And he's got a good point there.
Well, and the issue there is that somebody at our meeting on Monday night raised that we should have at least 51% resident approval. And if we have an election for everything like that, we would not get anything done, because
a lot of the things that recreation represents do not represent 51% of the community. You know, they're all different groups. I mean,
That's what we like
51% of our community do not get involved in equestrian. We do not, 51% may like living on the water, but it doesn't mean that that the access they want is canoe, kayak, motor. They might just want places to sit and look at the water or whatever. So, again, but we have to be careful how we represent our...
Have you heard anything from the CTEX about this? Because
No.
remember the whole time for the
Yeah, and-
rowing club, but this would have nothing for them at all. This has nothing to do with them at all, really, right?
And
This is for public.
I think the rowing group is aware of the fact that none of these sites that were proposed, with the exception of the one directly behind the wastewater treatment plant, would really work for the Grosse Seal crew. And I do have, a connection there. My daughter is a rower. I don't want anyone to think that I'm promoting, but what they are aware of is that this site would not have anything to do with the
We're
crew.
talking from Meridian to the water, if you use that path. How many feet, a couple hundred feet? We're talking.
I think he said like 100 feet or something like that. That might be on the drawing.
I bet it's longer
It's
than
got to be
that.
longer than that. If those
But
are
it's a
lots,
long,
right?
it's a long haul, and
Exactly what Dale said. I think was it 300?
comments were made that people use little trolleys to pull their kayaks. There was discussion of maybe keeping a place where you can tie your kayak trolley while you're canoeing. Again, it gets bigger
Okay.
and bigger, and so I think it's going to need a lot more community discussion before it's ready for prime time. But again, it's good that the debate and discussion is happening, because again, when we make these proposals, one person or two people don't think of all the different things. It takes really the whole community to come up with all the different pros and cons and to work it through. So the public hearing in front of the Planning Commission is, I believe, in early May.
Oh, that's already decided already? Well, then keep us updated what happens.
It's published in the paper, and, and this is ultimately going to be a township board. Obviously, the township board is bringing this forward. It's not me. But, so I think right now it is strictly a township board thing, but I think we wanted to make sure.
The contacts were made through my office the following day, and I thought it was important to set forward the information that was given to me, how strongly
Well,
they
please,
felt.
you guys, remember one thing, though. Our revenue's going down with tax dollars, stuff like this, and to be charged for another property, if it
Yes.
get dumped in our lap.
Yes.
This has got to be a special circumstance or something, because, for the trash pickup or monitoring, that's going to take time and effort, and people that we don't have. We got volunteers that we use for everything.
Well, and one of the critics actually brought that to our attention. He's saying, we're cutting services, we're cutting this and that and the other thing, and we're proposing to spend some money on doing this. Where are our priorities? Now, that was addressed at the township board, not at the CRC. But trust me, I will bring that to the board if it comes up, that this body is not prepared to take on that without some...
Thinking us we're more,
Without
but
the
our
funds.
dollars are short. What did we lose this year, 24,000?
Around, yeah, it was
24,000?
more.
Just
we
because of
did-
taxes going down.
Well,
so.
You have to clarify that. We didn't lose the money. Our taxes
Oh.
went down, and so our revenues went down. Yeah.
well, I have a question. Who drew that picture that I'm looking at? Who put that together?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dale did this at the direction of one or more board members.
Okay. I just was curious.
And remember, Dale is the employee of the board, and so he is there to help make their visions come to reality as much as he works with the managers to make the community's visions come to reality. And, but this didn't come from him, per se. This was not something he decided to do.
As he compiled the information, he checked off of, like, the police chief and myself, and there's probably a memo there from me stating sporting water access, definitely, because it's in our plan and it's always been a major focus.
Leah?
Yes, and open space, when we did the investigation a year ago, we also had a similar map that was prepared for us, so we knew exactly where that area was. But once again, open space did not recommend, they just said this was worth further consideration as a possible launching site. After having looked at 8, there were 2 or 3, and having walked all of them, from a launching site, this is really, from a personal view, a good place, but, it has to go through the process. And I think, Oda, I really thank you for giving us a heads up on this, because it's back apparently on the table.
All right, thank you. All right, subcommittee updates. Open Space and Greenways Committee update, Shelkey.
Just very briefly, the Open Space Commission will have a report in the Eel Camera shortly about things accomplished over the past year and what our goals and so forth are for the future. And I'll be at that next meeting there. Also interviewing candidates. One of the commission members has resigned, and so they have at least 6 candidates, but if there are more people, they probably need to get those in very quickly because those interviews are being set up.
Thank you. Golf Committee update. Bill, what do you got for us?
I've got a lot of good news. First
All right,
of
you
all,
got 10 minutes, Bill.
okay, I can do it faster than that. I do want, as chairman and representative of this board, or this committee, to the golf committee, and being chairman of the committee, I want to thank Tim and the girls in the office, all of them, and thank God that Kathy was with us last year. She did a wonderful job, and we appreciate it. And not only that, but the girls that volunteered to cover some of the things that she wasn't able to cover. But personal thank to them, too, for the wonderful year that we had, and also to our volunteers and my golf committee, who put in a lot of hours and did a lot of work and still continue to do a lot of work for this township and for the golf course. And I'm very, very proud to say that last year, for the first time in many years, we made money. We did not lose money, and I don't have an exact number, and we will be getting that exact number, and I will be taking that number and our appreciation to the Township Board when we do get the final number. And we're very excited about this year. Unfortunately, the weather hasn't been very cooperative, but the golf course was a startup like snap of the finger this year. That new lawnmower that we had last year helped us get that course ready for operation like right now. All we had was 1 6-hour period where we had the volunteers come in and pick up sticks that blew down from the trees during the winter. Other than that, the course was ready to go. So we've missed a lot of rounds because of the weather, but we will make up for it. The course is in excellent shape. I want to report that the subcommittee and the volunteers met today, and we had a very, very good meeting. We have a full room and a full quantity of volunteers who will be cutting grass and doing the ranging and many of the other volunteer issues that need to be addressed. One thing that Tim and I agreed on and the committee is that we need some volunteers for people to work the counter, the sales counter. And that would be if somebody would like to step forward and say we could share an hour or two a week or whatever, we would really appreciate it. And that's something that we will need. And everything else seems to be in really good shape. I just want to say that some of the projects that we worked on, I know we've had 3 years of talking about leveling the tee boxes on 2, 7, and 9, and we have already targeted this year number 7. We're going to level that tee box. We have had donated to us a sod cutter, And Mark is in the process of repairing the sod cutter so we can use it, and it's at our avail, so we can, once we get done with 7, then we'll go to 2 or 9 and get that leveled. So all the tee boxes will be really, really nice, and then we can go to the other and look at those. But we will have that taken care of. The 2 other projects that we're working on is the plumbing for the fresh water to go, the circulating water to go to pond on the number 9 hole, which needs drastic repair. They kind of cut off our water supply to that pond in putting in the basketball court. Unbeknownst to them, our line went right underneath there, and anyway, that got cut and the water had to be turned off. So we've suffered for a year with the pond looking like it was on 9. That's going to be one of our targets. That will be all done as best we can do it, and we will utilize as much volunteerism as we can to get that repaired. We do have some trees that need to be removed, and we will work on that. A couple of the trees that we planted last year didn't make it, and Bob Rice and I will be going to Costco, and we will get free repair or replacement for those trees and replant them. And so Bob has volunteered to do that.
He has an update on another source.
Okay.
Stopped by today.
Yeah, okay, great. And Bob, we utilize his truck, and again, he's not even on the committee, but he's one of our township people that are interested in making sure the golf course is maintained. So we are going to work on that, and I'm proud to announce that I have a plaque prepared. I just need to assemble it now. I've got the stainless steel and a plaque made for Ethel Yops, who was kind enough to donate money to replace a tree on hole number 1. And when I get that fixed, we will have the other ones. There's 4 altogether that we'll get them assembled, and we will have a presentation, and I will invite Ted to come down and do a little presentation. And thanks to the members of our community who donated trees. We're always open for donations, and anything that can be done to help beautify the course, and we would certainly appreciate it. So if anybody has any plants, matter of fact, we had a guy stop in the other day. He's got some, what are those, Tim, that George is going to?
Oh, it's not dogwood, but
No, it's, gosh, I can't remember, but he's got 6 of them that he's going to donate to the golf course, and he's going to deliver them, and we will plant them. Foxwood or Boxwood? Boxwood. And, yeah, those are nice, and they're hardy, and he's donated, I think, 6 of them to the golf course, and we will find an appropriate place to plant them. And the golf course has a box full of used golf balls that we sell for 3 for $1?
yeah.
Yeah, 3 for $1, and we've already utilized about $350 out of that box to buy and beautify the golf course, which is one of the monies that paid for the flowers that are on every hole. Every tee box has a flower, and so we're really excited about what's going on, and come on weather, because we want to fill that course. And as Tim indicated earlier, we're going to be working on a lot of special tournaments and things for the weekends to improve our weekend golf. And we also, Tim has come up with some real nice pricing for weekend players. So thank you very much for allowing us to do what we do, and thank the community for helping us out.
Yeah, Walt, could I add something? The staff is blending real well with the volunteers, and I want to take a special second for Mark Tiesel today at the meeting. Bill, wouldn't you agree that just having him there and talking about the maintenance issues, and he's really doing a great job with that. And, you know, they all have questions, he'll answer them. The plans for repairing the tee. This winter, he took all of our used golf clubs and put two sets together. And
Yeah,
really
so
nice.
we have clubs that we can rent if we need to rent them. I wish somebody would bring back the clubs they stole from me, but that's another issue. One other thing I'm having Mark do when I make my presentation to the Township Board. He is giving me a list of the most critical equipment that needs to be replaced. And so we are going to present that to the township board and see what they can do to help us with the financial wherewithal to secure what we may need to make sure that we are doing what we need to do. So,
Uta.
I was just, it's kind of neat sitting here because I get to see everybody, and I was making two connections. You're talking about volunteers and for the pro shop, and I'm also seeing a Agron over there, young man from the high school. I know the high school has a golf team, and I know there are a lot of young people at the high school who enjoy golfing. I'm wondering if they would even consider volunteering, maybe at the pro shop or at Water's Edge, that we can kind of make it worth their while, maybe for practice or whatever, but that maybe you two can work together to bring some of those young people into the volunteer corps.
well, one thing and echoing what you just said or adding on to it, we are looking for some of the youth to come, and a lot of the golf balls get knocked all over the place. These young kids that are hitting the ball in our driving range now are driving them over the a number 8 hole.
Start giving them marshmallows to hit there.
Man, I told them we should put a sign up, no drivers. But they are hitting the ball far, and we are collecting those balls. And but there are a lot of balls on as you're looking down the driving range on the left-hand side of Bellevue, and before Bellevue, there's got to be a good 1,000, maybe 1,500 balls that need to be retrieved to put back in our system, so we don't have to buy any more.
Oh, well, they're going to be gone now this weekend, now that the word's out now.
Well, there are balls, so if you pick them up, throw them back in the yard.
All right,
Thank
I
you.
got a question for you, Bill.
Yes.
How is the irrigation system? Any major issues with that?
The irrigation? Mm-hmm. Well, what we're going to do, and Mark has already, last year, I don't know if you're aware of it.
Water sprinklers, whatever, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Oh, sorry. The sprinklers, I mean.
the sprinkler system is in great shape.
He fixed two major breaks last fall 'cause
Yeah.
I was there.
And it was a very cold winter.
It's,
so-
it always has things that needs to be done to it constantly, but two major breaks were problems.
Okay, there was 2 major problems.
Yes.
Okay.
And he took
Those
care
have been repaired, and, but as far as the actual golf holes, we actually plugged them last year, which hadn't been done for 4 years. They've been plugged, sanded, and we're going to treat them and sand them again this year so that they'll be nice and smooth for putting. But the golf, Mark is so good at this, not only in the care of the greens and the fairways, but Mark has assured us that the golf course will be nice and smooth for putting, but also soft enough to hold the ball like they should be, because all our greens are elevated. And if you're familiar with golf at all, it's a very difficult and our greens are small. So in order to get on the green, you got to come onto it. And if you come onto it with the right club, it'll actually hold the ball on the green, and then you still have a nice smooth surface. So
Okay, very good.
congratulations to the team.
All right, thanks, Bill. Our next marina walkthrough, Swales.
I think you're on there.
The Marina Spring Walkthrough is Monday morning, April 25th, and the walkthrough with Bob and Tim and Brian and Gary and myself. There are some safety issues on maybe Pier 5 and Pier 4. The cement decking needs to be replaced, but Mark and Brian have made a complete list of all the work that needs to be done, so confident that we'll prioritize the work that does need to be done and get it done. And I do hope to start developing some volunteers at the marina that I see other organizations are doing so well to try and get some of this minor work done. As I heard the discussion about the canoes and the kayaks, I know a lot of people worked on this for a long time, but I'm just thinking the marina could be a spot where residents could launch kayaks and canoes. I mean, right between Pier 1 and Pier 2, we got the boardwalk. We charge people $5 to dock their boat. I'm sure there'd be a way we could help people. I mean, if someone could get their kayak or their canoe to the spot I'm thinking, at the boardwalk,
it could be launched. If they need to drive, they could drop it off and put their car up the hill, but to me, that's easy, but I know there's no simple answer. I just kind of throw it out there, food for thought.
Let me respond, because I was on that 5-year plan at that time, and I was also on the Marina Committee. That was our primary area to do that. That was in the last 5-year plan, and unfortunately, when the new board came on, they kind of poo-pooed that idea with some input from people, didn't like the idea that the current was fairly rapid going through there. However, I know a lot of places where people who launch boats, like at the Detroit Yacht Club and up and down the river, deal with the same amount of current. And with the way we had that waterfront designed, it would have been ideal for that, and I still think that should have remained in our consideration instead of doing all the other things that we're thinking about doing. And it doesn't mean that it's a dead issue. As Uda said, they are all plans. These are all discussions, and things can change as things happen. Unfortunately, if we had money, we could do a lot of things, right? Yeah. So, sorry, Mike, I didn't want to cut you off, but I wanted to fill you in on that because that was an important part of the investigation and work that we did in getting that prior 5-year plan together.
That is correct. All right, Tim, who's the main person that's going to be handling the marina? Is it going to be Brian?
Brian will be day-to-day, but if you get into, like, as you see this report filled out, Mark filled it out, if there's some major projects, we have to bring Mark into that.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark works on the travel lift, all the mechanics to that, as far as the dock work, the bracing of it. I mean, Brian's very talented too, but we'll have both of them work on it.
All right, well, what I'm saying is I want to have an easy transition for the marina patrons to, are they going to be seeing Brian more?
The main contact for any kind of service repairs is the main office through Annette.
But I mean, if Brian's going to be down there doing trash or blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
Brian, right?
There was a little switch-a-roo at the beginning of the season with the staff reduction.
Okay.
What Brian does when he starts the day, around the building, the parking lot, in those areas, with some of the seasonal help, we lost some of our quality around it. Brian's been year-round for over 10 years with me, and he's very detailed about what he does. I made a switch and put him in that area. He'll come in at 6 in the morning, take care around that building, make sure the walkways are at safety. Then he goes down to the marina every day that he's on duty and goes over each area of that. And if there's anything, and it's major issues, he'll bring it to the attention of Mark. And also, Bob Lang's down there, and he works very closely with Mark Tiso.
Okay.
Yeah. And Bob knows the marina. He's been there longer than anybody. But technically, Mark knows what's going on now.
Okay. Main thing is safety issues.
Yep. The biggest thing that Mark will tell you is, Tim, if we fix this, we got to have the resources. So, and you guys know that in any of those major projects. So I think we're set up to do a good job and be successful.
Well, if Mike can work out some of the volunteers or something and do a pro thing, you know what I mean?
Yacht and Cruising Club, or the club last year donated their time to build the boardwalk.
Right.
So they've done some great work, and Mike's part of that club. So they've done a lot of volunteer work, plus also helped with our transient docking last year as far as collection of fees.
All right.
Also, I think we got about 8 docks, Bob, yet to be leased.
Yes,
sorry,
between 8 and 9 right now.
Yes. So, I mean, there's a lot of revenue there. So we have docks for lease. We're looking for boat owners to lease some docks because that's about $16,000 more in revenue we could bring in just by leasing out those 8 docks.
Yep, to the much improved marina. It's getting better.
Would really like to find some boat owners to fill those available slips. And I just want to make some real quick comments on the West River proposal. I know the club has insurance, so that issue will be an easy one. I read the letter from the DNR, and he said it looked like a lot of fun, but he's right. If there's any alterations, I'm sure that West River would have to work on those alterations. If that proposal of the yacht club came to fruition, I know they would bring 8 boats to our marina right away so we could fill those docks, and that would be that additional $16,000 in revenue that we'd like to have. But I know the stumbling issue is with the restaurant leaseor, and that's going to be a difficult one. I know that the yacht club thinks they'd bring lots of business, lots of boaters, lots of people that want to eat to the restaurant that would really help the Leesore out with his restaurant. So we'll just keep working on it.
All right. Thank you, Mike. All right, next up, Centennial Woodward Ryan.
Me. Well, we already talked about the walkthrough. We went through a lot over that. So I'm not going to talk about the walkthrough or anything, but I want to say that I'm really excited to be part of the Centennial Farm. And I think it's going to be really good. And the camaraderie's building. And it's, you know, we have this trail ride. I think things are coming together really well. I really am excited about the Equestrian Club. And I like Sandy Bondar. We do really good things. It's just going to grow. So I'm glad I get to be this part of this. It's going to be bigger than your golfing thing.
One of that.
It's going to be, yeah, we're going to. But I have to, I want to say something because the animal shelter is part of the farm, and nobody knows anything, you know, it is still township owned, but I just want everybody to know that the animal shelter is doing very well. The part-time animal control officer, Julie Cordes, is handling Laura Schaller's full-time job and doing a real good job. They have a lot of volunteers. Julie has to get certified to do a lot of stuff, so it's going to be a while for her. She has to do so many hours before she can get some of her certification. I just want everybody to know that that's going okay. It's going really well. They're really detailed. She's got a lot of good help. It just doesn't have enough hours. Because, well, let me say, just so everybody knows, Herb Fest is coming up May 21st, and actually the Grocio Equestrian Club is getting together with them, so it's going to be camaraderie between the garden people and the equestrians. They're going to have, with Rob, I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but they're also going to have something going on during the Herb Fest, so we're getting some pulling together of people. I think they're going to have demonstrations. I'm not sure they have it ironed out yet, so that's going to be coming together.
What's the date on Herb Fest again?
21st of May.
21st of May.
Now, because Greg Meyring's not here, I have to make I don't know that much about the airport part, but I have to make an announcement for the lacrosse. He's coaching a lacrosse game right now, but Saturday, the Grocio High School lacrosse team is hosting a game with Michigan State Spartans lacrosse team versus Ball State University's lacrosse team. So it's a college team at our high school. I don't like to call it a football field. The big stadium there. All the money's going to. I think I was told $5 to get in and $1 if you're a student. That money goes towards the lacrosse team, which is all self-funded. They don't get any money from anybody, their uniforms and all that. So that's what Greg was supposed to say.
All right, and I got...
Pardon me?
What time?
Oh, I'm sorry. 3 o'clock.
All right, I want to ask you a
Hopefully
question
it's
to put you on the spot.
Oh,
All this camaraderie and stuff
Yes.
like that, do you want to take over that barn?
no.
Do you want to put horses in that barn? Do you want to, whatever, run that barn, whatever?
You mean run it myself?
Yourself personally?
No.
Okay. All right.
I like where I am.
This came up during our walkthrough, stuff like this. Helena just wants to get the groups together to make the farm a spot to go to and visit. Plain and simple. Am I correct in saying so?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, any more questions on that? Airport, recreation area, you mentioned for Greg. Senior citizens, Ms. Yops.
Okay, the Grosso Senior Citizens Club is picking up. The weather's getting better. It was really bad for them all winter. We've had 4 special programs, so we continue to collect food for the food bank for Sacred Heart, and we thank Tom and Connie for delivering all those. We'll celebrate our 41 years, plus our installation of officers, dinner May 24th at 1 o'clock at Sharky's on the River. Our next seminar will be Tuesday, July the 12th at 12 noon, Medicare Fraud Awareness, presented by the Senior Alliance. It's protecting your personal information, detecting fraud, and knowing who to contact, and understanding your Medicare summaries. And you want to take this one too then, please? And everyone is invited, even if you're not on Medicare, you may have someone who needs the information, and you can come and they bring lots of information and pamphlets and things for you to take with you. The Senior Olympics is coming up on August the 1st to the 5th, and Melvindale is hosting this year. Tennis will be here at the Grosse-Ile Tennis Center, right, Tim? On August the 2nd. Applications are available at the Water's Edge Rec Office, and June 30th is the registration deadline. Ages 55 and up, and all island seniors are invited, and this is just a lot of fun. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ethel, any questions for Ethel? We get those seniors out there volunteering at a golf course or something, right?
Well, they do. You'd be amazed at what they get involved in.
All right, schools, Conroy.
I'm going to turn my time over to Mr. Agron regarding the schools.
Hey, that's cheating.
You did that last time.
I want to start out by saying student volunteers are always wanted here. The jobs are wide-ranging, whether it be at Centennial Farm, at the animal shelter, at Water's Edge. In particular, though, at the upcoming Island Fest, we're going to need a lot of student volunteers to help out at that. That being said, if you're interested in any of that, don't hesitate. You can contact me if you see me at school. And secondly, I am a member of the high school golf team, so I'll most definitely look into us helping out over at Water's Edge. I started playing golf over at Water's Edge years ago, so it's exciting to see the course turning around. That's...
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
One more question I want to ask everyone about when we went for the Centennial Farm about the volunteers. Okay, I want to say on TV, but you can bring it back to school, about the map for maybe get the art class, maybe like a,
We already got it.
you already took care of
We
it?
just need, yeah.
Mike?
The Grosse-Ile Equestrian, should I say that? The Grosse-Ile Equestrian coach, Leslie Flood, went to the art teacher and asked the art class will make a map.
Okay.
We're waiting for Tim, if he can kind of give them some guidelines, exactly how it wants it done. The art teacher is real excited about having, whatever way you want to have it. We were talking about having a map at the rec building.
Right.
Just something real simple, not too elaborate, but that if people show up, they know that's where that's where the shelter is, things like that.
Okay.
Well, Tim, you can go with the
It's on the list.
You can coordinate with the ground.
Yes, I can.
Message
Yeah.
back
I'll
and
put
forth and
some,
stuff.
come up with some examples, and then they can build on it. They'll do
Is
better
it,
than what
I
I give
think it's
them.
on here, isn't it?
All right.
What's that?
You wanted to say something?
I did, but not about that, so,
Well, I think we're done with that, right?
okay.
No? Am I moving fast?
Well, then, I just have one thing. At our township board meeting last week, Mr. Loftus wanted to make sure that every commission reaffirmed their selection of chairperson. So I would like to make a motion to affirm that Mr. Walt Ketcher is our choice to continue serving as CRC chairperson.
Any second on that one?
I'll second that.
Second. Do we got any discussion?
Discussion?
You rock.
I was really hoping that Ethel would take over.
No, you've been the best one we've had, and we want to keep you.
All right, any discussion? Any public comment? Back to the board, commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, extended public comment. Anybody from the public? No. Individual commissioner comments. Moreau, anything to add?
The only thing I would say, we always discuss activities. This is not necessarily one for the island, but anybody who likes the blues, not the Blues Brothers, but the blues music, is going to be put on at the Knights of Columbus Hall in Wyandotte on Saturday, the 30th. And I happen to have tickets, and it's $20 a person, which includes food and beer and pop, and if you want booze or wine, you can bring your own bottle. So it'll be a real fun night. I have tickets. Some of the signs are posted around the community.
Well, if they don't run into you at Kroger or something, where do they get tickets at then?
I'll be there for the VFW poppies sales pretty soon. So, but no, it's going to be this weekend. So, if anybody's interested in the blues, see me.
Can you get tickets at the door?
You can.
All right, thank you, Bill. Swales? Any,
I got a letter in the mail about if I want to continue my work
in your
on the...
microphone, please.
If I want to continue my work on the board, I can go to a meeting this coming Saturday,
No, May 7th.
May 7th.
Saturday, May 7th, we're having a group swearing ceremony. No, I'm sorry, a group swearing-in ceremony.
That's what I was invited to, thank you.
And it's just simply to facilitate and our swearing-in appointed, reappointed commissioners, and also give everyone kind of a chance to meet and greet, so.
If we're getting sworn in, we're getting paid now?
Oh,
Yeah,
no, darling.
double what you got last
Oh, I get a 2 hour
year.
infestation.
What time, Muda?
Yeah, if you get a cookie. No. Well, you should have received your invitation. I believe it's at 10 a.m. on Saturday, May 7th.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Willard Ryan, any additional comments? No. Shucky? No. Yops?
I have 3 commercials.
Okay.
The first one we've had several times, the Veterans Second Annual Gala, Saturday, September the 17th at 7 p.m., honoring Korean War veterans and those who trained at the Naval Base. And they've invited several celebrities to come and who had connections to the base during World War II. And the proceeds after expenses will go to the Memorial Garden Fund, the Hangar Fund, VFW Building, and there's one other one that I'm not sure of. And they are looking for business and individual sponsors. And then acting like C.S. Lewis travels in and out of Narnia, Mark McPherson will be Friday, that's tomorrow, April 29 at 7 p.m. at St. Thomas Lutheran Church at Church in Meridian, and there will be a free will offering to benefit the Sacred Heart Food Bank. And then the third one, the Grosse Ile Creative Writing Club will hold their new booklet, Island Voices, launching Saturday, April 30th at 11 a.m. at the Prudential Landmark Properties on Macomb. Punch and cookies and booklet signings, and everyone's welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Conroy.
Yes, first I want to thank Tim and crew for doing an amazing job at the Easter egg hunt. We had a great turnout. The weather was very shaky to begin with, but we got the hunt in, and pancakes were great afterwards, and I think a good time was had by all. Agran, I want to thank again for doing what he's doing with the schools. His cousin, Bessa, she was named to the all downriver basketball team. That's very exciting. Ping pong is doing very well at the Centennial Farm. We're growing. We've got a second table there now.
Yep, Gary Bailey donated it.
And I've had a number of new players, one that's far and above anything I could ever, go after. August the 3rd, Bill, tomorrow, is the golf day at the Senior Olympics. It's going to be closest to the pin and longest drive. That's a good day to remember for that.
Where at Water's Edge?
No, at Taylor Meadows is where it's going to be. What else? Let's see. Also for at Island Fest, if you guys plan to do anything as far as putting competition for golfing to be highlighted? Any kind of booth going to be set up for that?
No, we don't have any plans at the Island Fest. Tim, you don't have anything going, do you, for Island Fest?
No, in the past, the team has done things at Water's Edge during that weekend, like a hole-in-one, but I haven't heard anything from the...
Yeah, we've tried it several times, and we really...
Not enough participation?
It was kind of hard to always have to cut someone there, because we wanted the volunteers in other areas instead of in one spot.
Last thing is, I think everybody needs to take a step back every now and then and just look up and around us. Everyone here is doing amazing work. This is a very amazing place to live. We need to be thankful and blessed for what we have. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Gron, we got any additional comments on anything at all?
I'm good.
Volunteers, okay.
How about the peanut gallery over here?
I forgot, I'm sorry about you, because I'm not used to you being down in there. O'Connor, what do you got?
I love it down here. This is really cool. I just want to give a quick shout out to the Grosse Ile crew. They have their first downriver regatta on Saturday called it's the Hebda Cup, and it's hosted at the Wyandotte Boat Club, located down there in Wyandotte on Biddle between Pennsylvania and Eureka. It starts earlier than you really want to get up on a Saturday, and we're hoping for really good weather. The Grosse Ile crew is lean and mean this year, and they just got back from their spring training down in Marietta, Ohio. They're used to the rough water on the river, so they're looking to do very well this year. So if you're interested, it's got a bit of a festival atmosphere about it. Schools come from all over the state, and it is a lot of fun. So that's the Hebda Cup on Saturday.
All right, thank you. Rudy, any
Question.
Questions. What do you got questions, sir?
Uda, is the Y-High also following week after the Hebda Cup?
Actually, the Y-High is on May 7th, and unfortunately, I'm going to miss a part of that to swear at everybody. But yes, the Y-High is on Saturday, May 7th, also at the Wyandotte Boat Club. And then they go traveling. I think they're going to London, Ontario, or Grand Rapids. They haven't decided whether they're going to do the state championships or the, I don't remember what it is in London, but then they have the Midwest Scholastic in Cincinnati, near Cincinnati. And, of course, they always end the year with a big bang at St. Catharines. So it's a short season, but it's a really dynamic season. So, we collected all your cans and bottles. The community was wonderful in the support that they gave the crew. I think close to $6,000 was raised that weekend. And we really appreciate all the people who actually saved their cans and bottles for a couple of weeks to make it really worthwhile. The parents and kids got quite a system. It's called the Singlinator. We think it should be patented, but they really sort those things in a real hurry. But anyway, it kind of echoes what John says. It takes a community, and we really have a very solid community on so many different levels. And we all have our own little interests and our own cliques and so forth, but every weekend I see it all come together into one big happy community. So this is one of the best places I can imagine living.
All right, thank you. Rooney, anything additional?
Just John, he's praising the staff and how great the Easter egg. He single-handedly directed the parking and caught the kids before they rocketed out of their cars and into the egg hunt. He worked his tail off that day.
All right, and then for me, I'd like to just say, I think it's just wonderful, you guys. You guys really taking ownership of your subcommittees and stuff like this. It's really been great to see everybody just passion and stuff like this in their own different niches and stuff like that. It's been really, really good. Now, I seen a hand come out there for a comment.
Yeah, your comment.
You got to come up there. They got to see your smiling face.
Yeah, Bob Thomas, 8143 Stout. I just have one quick comment. If anybody wanted to see a horse show, we have a Class A horse show going on this weekend in Mason, Michigan. All of Rob Luton's people are up there. They have all types of different events. They're really interesting, and there is no charge. Thank you.
Thank you.
May 21st, it's at Herb Fest too.
Yeah, May 21st, we're going to be having exhibition writing.
That was the joint thing you mentioned, yeah.
In coordination with the Herb Fest. We're probably going to be doing some other things too. But, yeah, pony rides. But, anybody wants to come out and see different types of riding, it's going to be at Centennial Farm.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, volunteers. Every chair of the subcommittee needs a volunteer. Be a part of your community, Grosse Ile. All right, on that note, a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Bill, second. I got John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Good evening, everybody. Have a good night.